Got my Sassenat going today. We're back at Lollybrock with the Mackenzies, and they are settling in pretty nicely. After 2 years of waiting to get their rooms back, it does seem like they are inside, just not sleeping upstairs yet. And the Frasers, their trip to Scotland seems to have taken a minor detour because of war. Both families get a surprising visitor and an interesting meeting. And the course of futures change in this week's episode of Outlander Season 7, Episode 4, A Most Uncomfortable Woman. And yeah, once again, I did have a lot of trouble choosing which scenes really made this episode the greatest and what elements really added to the story and where the story is going to go. But I did cut it down to 4 and 4 once again, so join me as I let you know what made the cut. This may come as no surprise. It was something that really bothered me last week. So, for the first standout scene, it's going to be Tom kissing Claire. Or at least that meeting that shows us that both Tom and Claire, not ghosts, totally alive. I am really, really glad that I was completely wrong and the creators did not change the rules of the game here. Things do seem to be going just as was said before as they're supposed to. They don't really change time, they do affect time, but it already happened from where they came from, so they aren't really changing the future, they're just making sure it happens. This scene was fantastic, though. The utterly surprised look on Claire's face as she comes away from a kiss, very unexpectedly given by Tom, just out of sheer surprise seeing that she's alive. Now, they do have a nice sit down and chat, and it's nice to see that Tom seems at least begrudgingly happy that Jamie has survived the fire. They are both all right. No flowers were ever needed at a grave, and an obituary, kind of problematic, but he's not aware of that. Everyone's just happy that no one's dead. Even Jamie's glad later when Claire and he discuss it. And if nothing else, the meeting did lead to this very cute scene between Claire and Jamie later. Not really a standout scene, as I've said before. We've seen him do this before. But the elements of jealousy and who's injured who was a nice little addition to having the maritals. And in the end, when it comes down to it, we kind of end up liking Tom Christie. As I said before, I don't think he was ever a bad man, a man of the times, and a man who was letting his fear guide him. But he's the sort of man who you feel sort of sorry for. His life has not treated him well, no matter how he tried to live it. Now, my second standout scene takes a turn, and that is Jamie being conscripted. Haha, said it in one try. Basically, he is being blackmailed. All healthy men who are able to fight are being asked to, and his reputation, unfortunately, precedes him. The only way for him to get out of having to serve is to find someone who will fight in place of him. And while this is Jamie, he's too honorable to do such a thing. This, of course, is going to delay any travel plans to Scotland, at least for now, as Ian also decides he wants to help this burgeoning country make it. We do find out a little bit of history here. The fact that, well, Jamie, like other men in his position, wouldn't have a choice. There was no, are you willing to fight? It's, we started this together, we're in it together. So I do like that little touch of history thrown in. But I am sorry that we're going to have to wait to see the Murrays. I was really excited to see Ian and our new actress playing Jenny. I want to see what she does with the part, and I really just want to see the family reunion. Now, for my third standout scenes, this can come as no surprise because I was excited to see this pair again, though for the first time really together. Not for the first time, but we've got Ian and William in the Dismal. Now, you know the story by now. William is tossed from his horse and is injured. He's got nowhere to go, no way to get there, and he's in a lot of pain with an infection growing as he tries to make his way through the swamps of the Dismal. Or, just the Dismal Swamp. Lucky for him, Ian happens to be traveling in the general area as well and comes upon him and uses what little medical knowledge he's picked up, probably from both the Mohawk and his auntie, to help William try to treat his injury. Now, of course, Ian knows exactly who William is here, and a lot is conveyed without actually being said between the two young men. Though William's singing could use a little help. But of course, Ian does keep the secret of who William is and just tries to help his cousin out. This part of the adventure was short, but it was a nice time to see the two together and to see how they got along. William, of course, on a secret mission, and it was kind of fun to see him be a bit confused by Ian and his whole, Scottishness. Eventually, Ian does convince William to seek some medical assistance, and that's going to lead me to my fourth standout scene for this episode, and that is the introduction of the hunters. I really love these actors in these parts. Okay, I've really enjoyed their behind the scenes interviews and the little clips we've gotten through the Droughtlander period, but I enjoyed Joey's take on Denny. Very straightforward. We're going to get this done. I kind of thought for a minute William was going to lose his arm. You can never tell what the creators might change, but I think it would mess up the story ahead. So good thing they didn't. Um, the special effects team on this bit, pretty good. I was nicely grossed out. I didn't want to show all of the images because, yeah, if I'm grossed out, I'm worried you might be grossed out. So let's not get into that together. And of course, Rachel, beautiful, terrific, and just as forthright as Claire when it comes to getting surgery accomplished. Poor Ian, he really he didn't have a chance. But we do learn about the hunters really quickly here. We see their personalities as they take action for poor William here. Rachel is very much Denny's assistant, and they have a very close relationship as we see later in the scene. She's loyal to her brother to the point of leaving her community to stick with him. Rather, that's necessary because she's the younger sister and would have nowhere else to go. I'm not sure because of the times, but I have a feeling that if she had stood up apart from him, the community would have found a place for her. So it shows a very steadfast loyalty right there in her for her own family and for what her family believes. At least that's how I took it. Now, thanks to the hunters and their quick ministrations and the luck of an exploding pus bubble, ew, um, William will live to write himself a better death song in the future because, I mean, it was really sweet when he said William James, but it's a really short song, and let's hope the boy is able to accomplish a few things. Now I'm going to cheat here. I kind of already mentioned it, but the scene where we learn about the hunters and why they are going to be leaving their cabin soon, it is a separate scene, but I do think it was an important part and it is all connected. So I'm going to give myself a pass and call it part of the same scene. Although William learns a little something, and that's being counted separately. Now we've reached that halfway point. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to remind you to like if you're enjoying the video, subscribe, and hit that alert button if you'd like to know when the next video is coming out. There's going to be some interesting content coming up in the next week and a half or two. So if you've ever wanted to check out the night bus at Universal Orlando, or maybe see what is going on with Goofy at Disney World, yeah, hit below just for the heck of it. Random stuff's going to happen. You can also join and become a member of this channel. You can also become a Patreon and get something like a video like this with no commercials. And I always appreciate a one-time thank you also can be done down below. Now, the next couple of videos will look different because I'll be on location and you will not get edits and fun little things. However, I will try to find a fun location to record the next two reviews for Outlander. Though they may come out on a Tuesday, really any time between Friday morning and Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to be a wizard, but I don't know the spells for editing. So that's just to give me a little wiggle room without interrupting my family time too much. Now, let's get back to it. Now, the funny thing about my honorable mentions this week is that they all seem to have a little something to do with what's going to come next. They're going to affect the future. So let's pay attention. My first honorable mention is Jemmy and the Noglave, which is just a fun word to say and was very confusing to read. So I'm so glad to now know how it is pronounced. Yeah, Jemmy is being infested by strange fairy folk of different kinds, Naglave, pixies, all kind of causing him trouble. Except it turns out the pixies were a fib, and he really shouldn't take apart the radio, at least until he's figured out how to put it back together again. However, the Naglave, that's something different. The Naglave is informing us something will be happening next. That the food and the lemonade, it didn't disappear. Naglave didn't do it. Somebody did. We'll find out soon, probably in the next episode. Stay tuned. But it is fun to watch Bree and Roger try to figure out what exactly is going on. I do like that they've just sort of decided that whatever it is, Roger's taking care of the imaginary cavities. My second honorable mention, honestly, could have been a standout scene, but it's really just a couple of lines that hit home and made it great. And that's going to be Brianna's lack of penis. Yes, I just said that. Brianna getting the job was fantastic. I'm a woman, and I can say that on occasion I've been in a situation in which someone of the male species has decided that I couldn't possibly have the information necessary to do such a task. I won't mention that I was the only female in my networking class and most of my computer courses. I won't say that being the only female in computer courses in school gave me any idea of how she feels, but I would say that there are probably many of us in the female persuasion, or quite frankly, anybody who is in a demographic that generally is not taken too seriously, let's put. Uh, Give a little mental high five to Bree and her lack of penis. Yeah, so that scene was very much a wouldn't you like to live vicariously through Bree kind of a moment. It was great. It was wonderful. And if I could choose the very toppest of bestest moments, yeah, that one kind of got me. My third honorable mention is going to be Ian and Rachel's goodbye. Oh, fraught with tension are we now, youngins. It's great. I really have been looking forward to this pairing as well. As I've said before, Ian, he deserves a little good luck in his love life. It's not gone well up to now. And it looks as though Rachel may have young feelings for young Ian. And I'm just really, really pleased for that. I'm shocked, truly. Not seriously. I'm really looking forward to seeing this relationship burgeon into something more. And it really, like I said, Ian didn't have a chance. There's a little Claire in that Rachel, I think. Now, of course, if this relationship does grow as we expect, will we be seeing Mr. Bug, and how will that affect Ian's decision to pursue Rachel? It'll be interesting to watch. My final honorable mention is going to be the moment William realizes that one of the letters is going to someone in the Continental Army. And we are left wondering very much what he is going to do about it. Now, for some, it might not be a question of what he would do. But for William, we've seen him be a very honorable gentleman. It's basically how the episode starts. And so he now has to decide for himself how he's going to approach this situation. And I believe his earlier declaration that he would not like to be a spy may be put to the test, because when you are put in a situation, sometimes you must make decisions on the fly. The one thing we do know is that as he travels, he will not be traveling alone. He will be with Rachel and with Denny, so he'll be getting to know them as they go. Yeah, things are going to get all interesting and dramatic. I kind of wanted to include the estimate for repairs at Lollybrook, but it feels obvious after last week how that problem is going to be solved, and not all of that is really mysterious, so it was just nice to see Brianna and company settling in. Roger making a manual for her time travel, the kids causing havoc, it's all good stuff. Except for Roger's minor lapse into chauvinism, quickly replaced with a need to feel useful, which is understandable. So I wasn't irritated with him for that long, just for a little bit. And it looks like next week we'll be setting up shop in Fort Ticonderoga and whatever adventures that may bring. But until then, keep an eye out for Naglave and check out more Outlander content here, and I'll see you there.